Lavender's blue, dilly dilly, lavender's green. When I am king, dilly dilly, you shall be queen. Hi everybody, Sandy Wilkin here from Jackson, Ohio. And I have my third journal in my Sewing Junk Journal videos. And this one is called Lavender's Blue, after the song I just sang. But anyway, this one is tied with a kind of like a chiffon ribbon. I think it's got wire in it, but it's really cool. I like this ribbon. And then the cover is made from a card that my friend Rhonda Binkley made. And you can see it had a tape measure and this real pretty lavender looking spool of yarn, a little bird there, some buttons in blue, and this little gown looks like it's in dark blue with a ribbon. So it's really nice. And then I went around the edges in this lavender ribbon that I found and put these little tiny lavender flowers on it. And then this ribbon that I had that has lace, and that goes all the way around to the spine. And then on the back, I covered the back with this craft paper and then put another piece of the ribbon on there. And then on the edge, I've used the edge here and down here and here, I used like a light blue lace trim. So let's get into this journal and take a look at it. When you first open it up, it says Lavender's Blue Sewing Journal, and I used a dark purple rickrack around the edges. And then I cut this out. I think it is a cloth that it is cut out of an old tablecloth or doily, and it was really neat. So I thought that's perfect for the cover there. Then on the first page, I have a little pocket here, side pocket, and I had found these Holly Hobby. This book belongs to, and I cut that down a little bit to put it in the corner, and the person can put their name there. And then in the tag I have for it is a collage tag with the wonderful world of sewing magic. And I've got every kind of sewing thing on there that I could find in books. Cut these words out: weaving, rug making, batik, stitchery, knitting, needlework, smocking, crochet, embroidery, quilting, needlepoint. And then I tried to get little pictures of some of them. These were little magazines, advertisements they had in some of the books. And then you can journal on the back of that. And then I also put a little hello card in here to welcome everybody to the journal. And that's for journaling in too. That fit right in with the color scheme. Tried to keep it lavender and blues all the way through if I could. And so I used that real pretty polka dot lavender paper and put this real pretty lavender ribbon on this page. And then my next page is always my one with my sticker that says, "And the story begins." It's on my stamp. And then I put a little ball of yarn, kind of like down here, I cut out of a magazine. On the next page is a tag that's made from a junk mail envelope. And I used some of that tissue paper and some cut out flowers, and then I just turned the inside of the envelope down and put this this tag is in it to fill. And see, there's the inside of the envelope. I left that blue because it's so pretty to go with the journal. And then I put this tag of a lady. I cut her out of a magazine, a sewing magazine. I think it was a knitting one. Had all these sweaters and vests that people had knitted, and made that into a journaling tag. And that goes back, and put this real fluffy stuff on the top for the tab. She goes back down in there. And then behind this, I left that open for another tag. And this one I made from, I saw this in a book. They put a crossword puzzle in the back, so I filled it in. Sew, mend, denim, seam, quilt, yarn. I put as many things as I could think of to fill in the crossword puzzle a little bit. And it already had those little purple squares in it. I thought those were neat. Then I found a cutout from one of the pattern books of a lady having her coffee or tea. So I put in style and put a little wooden button at the top with a piece of lavender gingham fabric. So that goes in this pocket. And then I used this purple and white trim that I'd had. It looks like a ribbon. A little ribbon has been put through the lace there. Next page, I covered it with a dictionary page. And the dictionary page, I highlighted the definition of needle and needlepoint and needlework. So this was out of a dictionary. And then I made this little side pocket and added fashion fabrics that I'd found in a magazine. And then this little journaling card was out of a sewing magazine, and it is some old scissors, a quilt, and looks like a thread in a little basket, and looks like a needlepoint thing up the top here. That came out of a sewing magazine. I thought that was really pretty, so I made that into a journaling card. You can journal on the back. Then the next page is a tuck that I made. Now this tuck has this little card and it looks like a house. I found this house I cut out of a magazine and I thought, boy, I like the way that looks like material and stuff. So I found this Home Sweet Home and then put a cut out of a lady in her outfit that she has been sewing and with the buttons on it. And that's for journaling too. And then I made a, a strip cluster with different pieces of paper. And then a cutout circle and a little burlap flower and a little fabric tab there on that. And this paper was out of another journal that I had bought earlier, and it had ladies on the bottom of them. So that was perfect because she was in her lavender dress. Okay, then the next page is another journaling spot. Put some light blue paper there. And then this says a happy hello, a fabric flower like that I cut out of a magazine. Looks like fabric. The next page, I put a pocket, and I found these little girls in these sewing machines. I think it was an advertisement for this sewing company, Branch and Stickley and Sons. I think maybe they sewed sewing machines or something. But I put So Sweet there because they do look darling. And then I used this paper with this tab. And then in the pocket, I had found a Barbie doll cutout. I just loved her. She was in her little knitted outfit. It says, fashion your own dolls. And put some more decorations on there and that piece of lace and some little flowers. And then I found this little tablet that had this lady with hats, and I just made a journaling card out of that one. But I have more of this tablet. Now, I might have used it on back in the book. I can't remember. But that makes a nice little journaling card. And then the tag you can journal on too. If I can get it back in there. I used an envelope on this because the envelope, I folded, it was a number 10 envelope, long one, or it had this lavender and blue on it. And I folded it and put it to the other side, which made the other pocket. And so I decorated that up a little bit and made a guest check tag that's got made it into a pocket tag and collaged it, put a little tag in there with a thimble on it and put some bling on there and a plastic flower and a bunch of other collage pictures from the pattern books. And then put this little crochet, looks like crochet tab on it. And of course, guest checks make good journaling spots. So that went back down in the other part of the envelope. Now, I love this paper I used. I found in a book that had all kind of watercolor looking paper in it. So I used a good bit of that to do this journal because it had lavenders and blues on it. Get that one back in there. Come on, get in there. There we go. And then this next one is another journaling spot. I found this lady. It says, join this group of needlecraft ladies. Had all these little ladies there sitting with all their sewing things. And then that's a place to journal. And this real pretty blue and white lace on that. And then this is another page from another book. It was either a journaling book or a coloring book or one of those kind that they have activities for kids. And so I just put journaling at the top, and you can journal in all those little spots there. And then the next page is a fold-out ledger paper. And you can take a hold of this part here, and it says So Journal on it. So journal. And then you can journal in that. It says, style is eternal. Style is eternal. I love that stamp that I found. And then this side, more journaling space. And this little lavender striped pocket I found one time. I found in a thrift store, there was a whole package of these, and they were different colors. And they were really cute, so I've used them. And here's one of my playing cards that looks embroidered with a bird and a flower on it. So I put that in that pocket, put sewing on there. And then the back pocket, this is a tag that I cut out. It's kind of got stuck in there a little bit. I cut this out of a magazine, Alluring, and I had a lady with her hat, looks like a tape measure there. And it already had that, so I just left that like that and put it on tag board. And that goes back in there, and then this shuts up, and you move over this side. And I've got one of those pockets that you fold up a certain way. I think maybe Natasha might have had one like this. Anyway, you fold it, and then you leave this space open here, and it can be a tuck space or pocket. So that was a sewing thing out of a magazine. And then I made this little tag. It has some buttons and stuff on it, and this paper looked like maybe needlepoint paper. Put that tag at the top with some eyelash trim. This is another one of my cards, a Sunbonnet Baby, and I thought that was fit perfectly in here too. All right, the next page is another writing spot, and again, I cut this out of another book that had all these really cool stuff in it, and it just fit in with the color scheme. It says, because I am creative. Of course, you're creative if you write in your journal. You can create all kind of doodles and artwork, not just writing. Then here's the next page of journaling with these little white lace daisies, and it says hi at the top there. Now, I'm always cutting out different things out of magazines, words and stuff, and I have baggies full of them so that I have them ready to use. Now, the next page is this real pretty paper with this pocket. Now, this pocket right here, I got this from a book of fabric samples. And the fabric samples were just beautiful. And they were just like all together like that. Then I put this little paper flower-like thing on it that I cut out of a magazine. And then I used this beautiful lavender rickrack trim with the little balls on it. I bought this not very long ago. I just thought, I bought it at Hobby Lobby the other day. In fact, I bought the purple and I bought the blue like this, and I'm using it in my blue journal. That'll be my next one I show. It's called Blue on Blue. And of course, I've got a song with it too. But anyway, here is a tag that I made, again, from that cutout book that had that fabric swatches or whatever. And so I just added these girls and a flower, and it says, hey girl, and then a little thing at the top there and some rickrack for that tag. And also, at a thrift store one time, I bought a bunch of these postcards and they were Barbie ones. And there's Barbie in her little floral dress. So that could be used for a journaling card. I've used those several times in books. Next page is a belly band. So here on the belly band, I have all these things because it's kind of a different kind of belly band. I think this is one Natasha showed too on her channel on Treasure Books. It was one that you left the part of it open there for a little pocket, and then the belly band went on through. So in the little pocket, I put one of these cutout cards that I found with scissors and stuff on it, and another one that had scissors and pattern piece and button card. So those I put in the little side pocket. See, it just goes that far. Now, I thought there was one on the other side, but no, the way I folded this, I didn't get one on the other side. But I think you can do that. I think on Natasha, she had two places. And then this was so cute. Fabricaholics. Fabricaholics. And these women her husband's carrying over bundles of fabric, and they're all running to the next place with their cart full of fabric and stuff. It was really cute, so I put that in there for a journaling card. So that goes under the belly band. Next page is a kind of a tearaway tablet that I made. It says take notes, and it's got little trim at the top there. And then it's got this little place you can journal on. Then you flip it up, and it's got a tally sheet. These all came from another book, but they had the colors for this book, so I used them. And this is a little guest check there. And then you flip that up. I think I made this. I know I made this from Tim Holtz Packaging because it had that little flap on it, and it made it just great to do this. Girls just want to have fun. So I've got a little tablet with things to do there, and the girls are having their wine. They're winding down from all this sewing. Girls just want to have fun. And then here's another page that I found in another journal. I've used this before. It was the days of the week. It says daily reflections, what's on my mind, little notes, and creative space. There you could doodle or make a picture. And a little sparkly lavender flower with a little rhinestone in it. Then this picture I cut out of a magazine, a sewing magazine. I just loved it. It was one of those things that looks like the 70s. Her little sewing caddy with the thread, and hanging on there is the measuring tape. And this is the pin cushion at the top up here. It's a little wooden caddy and scissors. So I just added that little word sew on there. Used this real cute paper and this blue, real pretty blue lace. Next page is a little side pocket. And here's some more of that watercolor paper I used. It really goes with the book. And then I cut this out of something that was really cool too. It had all these colors. Then I put a little cutout of the dress form. And this is a journaling card. I cut this out of a magazine, but it said Paris, and I had this lady on it, and I thought that was really neat, and the colors went well. And then I made this little tag. I took some old Rick Rack packaging and put it around the tag, and put this little piece of measuring tape, and then some of the tissue paper from the patterns. And then I made that into a little pocket. It says Fabric Creations on that little tiny tag there. So that goes in there. Another journaling spot. I always like to have plenty of journaling space. So creative. Got this from another book that had lined paper and stuff in it. And then I put this little fabric tab on it. I didn't put any charms on these tabs, but eventually I may add some charms. Then this page is the fabric flip. Little crocheted flower, that piece of fabric, the purple checked fabric, and then this real pretty, I love this, had this blue and lavender, and then you can journal into your secret journaling spot. Well, I've gotten better from my bronchitis, but I'm still got a little bit of a cough and a gravelly voice. This is a picture that I cut out of a doily magazine. At that time, they were only 10 cents for this doily magazine. And then I made it a little side pocket there because I couldn't fit this big word across there like that. So I thought, well, I'll just turn it that way and make a pocket. And I found this darling kitten that had spilled all the buttons. And it says, the cover button with 9 lives. So the buttons have been covered by fabric. So that's a journaling spot too. So that little journaling card went in that pocket. I thought that fit real well. And then I used some more of that purple ribbon and white lace. And this is a number 10 envelope folded up. And that left your little piece there of the flap. And that's a tuck space for this little card that I cut out of a magazine. Again, these are, somebody's already made these, and you know what I mean? And then you can just cut them out and use them, and they make real cute little cards. And then I made this tag, Simplicity, with the number, and it says Sewing Fun for Everyone. And it shows all the different kind of things you can sew. And then this little girl right here cut her out of a pattern, I think, or a magazine. And that makes a little cute, and that, see, when you fold that up, that makes you have a pocket there. And then the top of the envelope, I cut that off, and that makes another pocket. So in that pocket, I made this big tag, and it says, make today awesome. And again, I used the tissue paper, but this time I used it on a flashcard. 2 minus 0. Had a bunch of old flashcards. I mean, you can make stuff out of everything, and it makes it cool. And there's some embroidery thread and a little piece of a quilt. And then the girl here in her little, looks like 60s hippie outfit. And so that is another journaling tag that goes in the top pocket. Now, let me tell you, I love using envelopes. And so many ideas I have gotten from Treasure Books and Natasha. And again, I've used that over and over, that set of envelopes with the little cards that I bought at a thrift store. And here's one of the cards. It's McCall's. And I love the guys' outfits. Those are 60s, cool with their bell bottoms. And then you open the card up, and I have made it into a journaling spot, just a note. I cut these little cartoons out of a magazine. Believe it or not, I got it out of a newspaper that I found at one of our local stores in Jackson. And it was like a newspaper that advertises all these places that you can go visit. But this little cartoon was in there, about 4 of them. And I cut them out. It was great. It's By the Yard. It's and Jennifer Lopez. I don't think it was the movie star I think it's Lopez there. And it says, Did you find the seam ripper? I think that sewing machine is talking to her. No, but I started 3 more projects. She is all her material. I thought that was really great that I found that day. And I cut some more out. I've got some more in here. And then here's a place where you put all your memories, notes, keeping memories, your photos. Of course, this envelopes look like pattern paper. That's what's so cool about them. And then I love these cards. I found these one time at a thrift store, and I put one of them in there. It's not just chocolate. It's my life. So you can journal on that and have a piece of chocolate while you're doing it. And then I put on a camera, photos, keepsakes, keeping memories. Oh, I find these all over the place in different magazines. Memorabilia. So I always cut them out and use them on things like this. And the next page is Stitched with Love. And this was a beautiful piece of stationery. I love irises, so I included that because of the color. Then I made this little cluster up here with some of the fabric, some of that trim I had, and then it was cut out of an iris, 3-dimensional. Put that on there. Then here's another picture from one of the magazines that I bought a bunch of these sewing magazines one time. I think I bought them at a kind of like one of those thrift stores that's sort of got a lot of booths in it, but it's got people that bring in consignments too. But anyway, there's a whole box of these magazines, and I got a real good deal on them, so I just bought them. And this one's edging on handkerchiefs and stuff, and a lot of that edging called tatting. And so I used some of this beautiful, intricate tatting lace on this page. The next page is a glassine bag that I had, believe it or not, with purple. And it had all these different little colors in it, these little dots. And I cut out this ribbon from a magazine, and it's made out of zippers and a tape measure and a button. Is that ever cute? In the glassine bag, I put a lady with her beautiful Afghan. She's either crocheted or knitted with a little flower at the top. And then I have a book of these. Quilting. It was a quilting book of word finds. So this is one on charm quilts, and on the back you can do colors quilters love. I've been using these a lot in my sewing journals. Makes it fun, something extra to do, and something fun to do for the person who's got the journal. Okay, the next page is another one of these places I found in those books for journaling. I thought this was really cute, the way that was, had a little square there, and then it was kind of a checkered paper. So I put So Fantastic and put a little tiny lavender lace tab there. And on the other side is a fold down journaling spot, envelope thing. I love to find these at thrift stores. So I put Make Today Amazing. That's all that journaling in there. I put some washi tape. And then I put a picture from a men's fashion magazine because I found this shirt in a magazine. Oh man, I'm going to use that as a journaling card. So that's perfect for the men's fashions. And then, oh, this was fun to do. I used teacher's, is this the one where I used to teach? No, this was music paper. This was music staff paper. And I just put this little thin rickrack on here across and made it into like a gallery. And this is a needlepoint gallery. All of those pictures are needlepoint. Quilt and mushroom, home sweet home, and this kitty cat, something about man's best friend. Those are, and I thought that made a cute little page. And then I put some lavender purple rickrack on that. And then this is one of my cards that I got the idea from Natasha. This is that fold out one. cute as a button, those two little girls, and I put some buttons on there. Then this came out this way, and this one comes out this way. Remember I showed you this? And all you have to do is take your envelopes and just make sure that when you bring this one over, that this one fits on top like that. So that's the only problem. And then you only glue right in here, because you want to keep this space open for your little bookmark or tag or whatever. And let me tell you, this is so cute. I've done, when I did a butterfly journal, I made this into the butterfly. Put the spots on there. And then this, look, it almost looks like the antenna right now. And then this was the little butterfly's head and antenna. And it really was really cute. And then on these, you have little pockets over here. So each one of these pockets, I put a journaling card. And I found this little piece of, I don't know if that's vellum or, no, it's acetate or something. But it's got a little flower on it. So I thought, oh, that's cute. I'll stick that in there. And then this is a journaling card with the colored pencils. And then I made a little cluster here. This is one of those little clusters with different kinds of paper. And the focal point, I stapled it together, and then I used this to cover the staple, and I used a focal point. And there's another one over here. Oh, except this cluster is not really a cluster. This is a piece of paper that you just cut out, and this is done by Natasha too. This is one of her elements that she used. You take this piece of paper and you cut it, or you just tear it down until you have just about that piece of paper. And then you take it and you scrunch it together and you make it fold in like this. And then you use some, I can't really show you that, but she's got a video where she does this. She does it a lot better than I do. And then here is another journaling card in here that I put in out of a note cards that you buy. Little index cards make great journaling cards. And then this was a plastic flower from a napkin. I had found this napkin and I was using it to stencil with. And then it was so big and everything, I thought, oh, I'm going to cut that thing down and use these inside as embellishments. So here's another piece of flower that I found. Found a whole bunch of these. It's like rickrack, sort of like, but with flowers. So I used them. And then here is, I put this back this way. Oh yeah, and then I put on this was a plain piece on your envelope when you do that. So I made this little tuck space and then put this little journal on there that looks like somebody's made those little yo-yo, a pillow or something out of the little yo-yos, and then this little girl with her lavender dress. And for my tickets, I used one of the little tickets, says admit one. And so that's that. Next page, so just right. She says, right, and that's what this is for, to write on. I love that picture that way. So just right. And then here is some blue lace. And then this is another envelope. Oh, I'd found this envelopes that looked like lace on it. And I just left that little flap there and left that pocket there and made this little tag with some embroidery thread and some little spools. And put that there. It's a journaling tag. Then added a little bit of washi tape. Then when you open the envelope up, I made a side pocket here and put this little journaling card with the pin cushion and stuff in it. And then it already had this fake rickrack on there and everything, so I didn't have to do much. And that's a place for you to write. And then I added a few little stickers there. And then I left the top open. And that made it pocket, and there's another one of those little cards that I've cut out of a magazine that somebody's already made. And then I just made it into a journaling spot. And then we're coming, of course, toward the end here. This was a beautiful, beautiful picture that I found in a book, and I just loved all those flowers there. Some pansies and lilacs, and it had a pair of scissors, but I think those are garden scissors, but they're cute anyway. And I used this from I think this was from a towel or something, an embroidered towel or linen, and I used that on the edge, and I thought that was perfect for that. And then there's a belly band on this side. We're coming to the end, and it has a place that you can journal on or put whatever you want on there. And then you can always add more to these things. You don't have to just keep the stuff that I put in. You can put your own stuff in. That's what it's for. to add your own little touches and put your own photographs and memories in. And then this is we're getting to unforgettable moments. I always put that for my last page. Whoop, oh, I forgot. This is a hidden paper clip. So I made a hidden paper clip and decorated it up with those flowers, and that were pretty rick-rack. And then I put this envelope here, and here's where you do your unforgettable moments at the end of the book. And then this is another place that it says, so many memories. Now this is a stamp that I found. I just love it. This little pixie girl sitting on top of the sewing machine with her little scissors and her little bow in her hair and her needle and thread. I thought she was darling, so I put her on there. I stamped that and put that on there. Then inside again, everlasting moments, photos. You can put whatever you want in there. I even put a little photo sleeve for you to use. You just open that up and put whatever photo you want in there and put it anywhere you want in the book, or just keep it in the envelope there. So let me close that back up, and then I just flip that here as a flip out. And then put the paper clip on, the altered paper clip. If you've never learned how to do this, there's a lot of videos on how to make these paper clips. They're a lot of fun. And then I kind of left that out as a little tab a little bit too. And then the last page is, again, dreams, more stuff you could write at the end. And then the very last page, I just put a quilt on there that I'd cut out of a book, and it says, when life gives you scraps, make quilts. So I thought that was perfect for the ending. I hope you enjoyed my Lavender's Blue journal, and stay tuned next for the Blue on Blue. It'll be coming up soon. Thank you so much. Have fun journaling. Bye-bye.